Hello there, it's Danando, and what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly have a look at the patch notes for 7.0.0, if I can find them, and just give my little opinion on, what's getting added. I think it's 7.0, that's right. Right, so the biggest one is obviously translation. I wouldn't use it personally, but for people who speak different languages, it's going to be really amazing. The fact that you're going to have a lot of different people joining into the games and all that as well. Also, the update comes with a 50% sale. That's not up as it's running now, but it will be soon, I'm guessing. Android versions getting updated just like within this week. Hopefully, it's Google's fault. Blame Google. Google's annoying, and I'm putting this on YouTube, so hopefully they can sort the shit out. Right. Added. So you got the localization, got the zone control. I am a very big fan of this in the old Hex games, basically because it helps the defenders, but it also makes the attackers try to figure out what they want to do. Since ambushes are more popular and being able to hold areas. Let's just read it. So it's not applying to planes and ships, which is obvious. Doesn't apply to landmines, buildings, commanders, partisans, garrisons. Yep, militia. That's a bit obvious. And units having less than of 8% HP or having no ammo. I wasn't aware of that bit at the end. It's a good thing he's put that, because obviously they won't have enough forces to keep the enemies away there at bay. In other words, they would just get steamrolled. Possibility to access the upgrade menu with units from another country. So I'm guessing that means I can have a very bad tank from Italy and upgrade it to a Tiger tank, I'm guessing. Possibility to upgrade from your reserve. Ooh. That's not gonna change things up. So instead of having to take your units, you can upgrade them if you keep them in the reserve for later. So if you need just cheap tanks or something, you can use them, then upgrade them later should you need the requirement. Shows instant season change. You will no longer have an animation. So basically, as soon as it comes to winter, everything becomes winter. Yeah, okay. So that's going to be interesting because it means bang, everything's winter. So you're going to have to take the winter train, unless you're obviously Finland, and like stuff like that. But personally, I prefer it the way it is. Right clicking doesn't apply to me on Android, but will now unselect. So you unselect using right click, I suppose. So it's good for PC. Leaderboards let you know if there's no entries instead of not displaying anything at all. Changing the country's unit, so in the unit editor I will now refresh its counters. I don't use the editors, I only use the map. Thanks to the UI upgrade, sharing links will now be possible. Ooh. That'll be good. Sending links has been disabled for those who have an account. This is to prevent spam. Guests will not be able to send links. Cool. That's good. The water freezes mechanics. I have added 2 properties to tiles so you can freeze or don't freeze. I'm guessing that's like water. Yeah, like water and rivers. Set one time whenever the season changes. Whenever a body of water freezes, it becomes walkable for ground and unwalkable for ships. I added it to all Europe scenarios, northern areas such as Finland, Norway, Sweden, Eastern and Northern Russia. That's a good idea. So it's so the lakes will freeze over, and then you can go over them if your forces to flank basically Finland, or Finland can flank Russia. Good idea. You can now easily purchase from other countries in the map area. Huh? You can now easily purchase units from other countries in the map area. So if I'm Germany, I could buy Italian planes. Or if I'm... Ooh. Okay. I like that. Soviet unit. New Soviet unit. I'm guessing that's the slider, the snow glider, or whatever it's called, the snowmobile. I think I might be wrong. New toggle in the units area cannot be captured. What does what it says? Prevents given unit to be captured. Okay. New toggle in unit node lend lease is what it says. The unit will not appear on the store when trying to purchase units from other countries. That's a good thing for multiplayer, not so much for single player. Folded save supports. This is really good if you are making like tons of maps that are the same. For example, I create arena maps. I'm on the second one at the moment. And I've got like, what was it, like 8 or 9 different versions. Or yeah, different versions through the time I've been making it. So it's easier to change things if I've done something in the latest one, I can just go back. So now I can just go through them dead quick, and so that instead of having a very long list in the folder. Supports for mods and research, that's very good, because now you've got Napoleonic Wars, American Civil, World War One, Cold War, Modern Era, and base game. So if you're going to create like a Napoleonic or American Civil War, for example, a mod, it's going to be easier for modders to support that, especially with research menus. New toggle in tiles area is capturable. Okay. New toggle is reinforcement tile. Ooh. You can now make any tile behave as a reinforcement tile. Oh shit, I didn't know that. Ooh, that'd be good to create tiles. That one's really handy, actually. That's gonna help for my arenas, I think. I might have to play with that a little bit. New toggle in the OOB, Order of Battle, to display only core units. So replaces the old, it used to just have core units up the top. Create screenshots by pressing F12. War declaration from Italy for Greece and Yugoslavia invasions in 1939. That's about. Is it a balance? Well, there's a balance, but it's also updated to what happened. So it's an update. You can now set player target for the show message action to show messages only to certain players. If you leave the player target empty, it will consider everyone. Did I? No, I had that right for on my arena, so it still works. Button in the mod menu that links directly to the YouTube tutorial. So if you do want to do any modding, if you go on the mod menu, there'll be a little button where you can go onto the tutorial. The tutorial is a little bit old. I think it's by Valentine himself, the developer. But it hasn't changed. Like, it's the same premise since the games came out, I'm guessing. They now use strategic deployment for its units. It's been tough to find a good use for these for this. But Euro 1939 was a good test map, as for example, Germany. So if Germany's fighting Poland, and then they go, right, I want to fight Denmark, they used to just have to travel by road or by sea all the way there. Now, all they do is they just stick all the shit in the reserve, stick all the tanks and planes or whatever they want in the reserves, and then move it towards the Western Front, or like say France. Oh, I want to fight France, or I want to fight Italy. The AI is going to move it instead of spending like 15 turns but moving everything, which is going to be really good. And now it is authorized and enabled in real-time multiplayer as well. That's very good. Ooh, now these are the bits that I like. It's changes. So the entire UI has changed. It's more modern. I like the old font, but that was just me. I'm getting used to the new one. Looking at it, the screenshots in Discord and Valentine Studios Discord, and I'm actually quite liking it. And it's a lot easier. It's more formal, and there's more room for future updates as well. So pretty nice. Tooltips. So if you hover over something in options, for example, I think one is realist. It's not realistic planes anymore. It's something to do with weather. What was it? Oh, like realistic supplies. Say, if you click that, it'll give you a little brief description on what it does. That's something I always wanted in this game as well. Just helps new players as well understand what things do. Parachute as well in airborne mode have reduced autonomy. I am not sure what he means by that. From 100 tiles before to, I'm guessing it means they're only allowed to go 35 tiles. So they can't fly across the whole map like 100 tiles and then land and go, hey, I'm at Moscow all the way from Germany. It can be paratroopers can be supplied at and around friendly airfields while in airborne mode. Ooh, okay. The random damage modifier is set as a percentage, no longer flat damage. Goes from 0 to 100. Wait. Now a percentage, no longer flat damage. So does that mean it's 15% chance for random damage? Or does that mean there's up to 15% downwards and upwards for dealing damage? No longer flat. So it's not flat damage anymore, which means it must go off whatever damage it is. So it'll be 15% either way. I'm gonna have to ask Valentine about that. Mentions no longer stay forever. Remind you that you got tagged in every message. Thank God. In online chat, the real-time messages were sent will now be displayed. I've wanted that for a while. Spanish scenario. The Axis will now perform landings from Africa. Yes. So what it used to be is in the Civil War scenario, there's a little bit where what was it? Morocco? A little bit where Morocco in the bottom of Spain. Is it Gibraltar? I think it's Gibraltar. Like meet. What's it called? The entrance to Mediterranean. And what it was, they used to not go over to perform landings from Africa. Now they do. So it's going to make access a lot stronger in that scenario. So it'll be fun to play as the other Spain. Next is change graphics for major points, circles when opening object panels. That's very nice. We appreciate that. Same with the flags on victory points. So they're a little bit dimmed. There's a little bit black inlay, like the tint, which is nice. Files auto fresh in saved maps and now properly working. It's more sensitive. The UI will now properly refresh when a file is renamed, moved, or deleted. That's good. So it means you don't have to back out and then back in. Like back out the game, load the game back up, go back in. Various UI improvements. Yep, there is a shit ton. Flamethrower bonus is no longer a flat 15%, but now a 30% damage bonus. Very nice. Flamethrower buff. So this one's good. When setting auto supplies for all in the order battle, it now be saved per player. No need to enable this every time you load a save. So basically, Yeah, so if you click that, whenever you get a new unit, it's going to remember that you've got auto supplies on. And the next one's the same thing. If you buy new units and spawn them, they're going to go with whatever toggle you've got. So if you've got auto supplies on, they're always going to get the auto supplies at the start of the turn. So you don't have to do anything. But obviously, if you're running out of money, you're going to have to tweak it. You're going to have to put it for what you want, what you don't. So you want your tigers to be supplied, but you want your garrisons probably not. Your local games will now be saved before joining the online game and be restored properly after going back to the main menu. That's okay, that's straightforward. And changing a player's country in the map editor, all units owned by the player will be refreshed. Ooh, that's good. So if I make a map, no wait, whoa, that's going to change everything. So say I've got Japan and I've got loads of units. If I've got this right, if I change Japan to Germany, all them units are going to be refreshed. They used to keep so I'm guessing that means they're going to be refreshed to Germany. But the only problem is Germany's going to have Japanese, Japanese special units and stuff. So, and for example, tanks. But it'll be good for heavy, generic heavy infantry and stuff. That's usually got the same stats. That's a good idea. That's a good one. In the tiles that are changing the biome will now refresh the tile graphics. Good. Event panel no longer disables current active event when closing the scenario. Yeah, I've had that quite a few times. Move a player from map in the map and I will now properly refresh the unit is target for the secondary conditions. Okay. Update version of multiplayer compatibility because it's 7.0 now. Unit slot generation in the unit editor has been increased by 2. Unit slots generation in the I wouldn't know what that is. I don't use the unit editor. But if it says generation's been increased, then I'm guessing it's good. Pausing the game will now instantly pause the AI instead of letting it, it lagged on, it kept going, kept playing for a few matches, a few turns, I mean. Policies are now available in campaign scenarios. Ooh, giving you enable it. I don't know how I feel about that. No, that's good. Campaigns are going to have a little bit more flavour now, I suppose. Winter Lake graphics are now shown as frozen. Okay, well, we've explained that up the top. Winter Season Lake is Frozen Lake. Okay. Imam Raw will now be launched as a catapult. I believe, were they ever? Yeah, they were. Imam Raws were. V2000 was, but there was only by ships. Destroyers attack submerged submarines have a 50% chance at every attack to force the sub to the surface. So destroyers have got a massive buff. That's just under 1 in every 3 attacks, essentially. One in every 3.8 really when you work it out, but it's usually 1.3, 33%, so yeah, not bad. I mean, if you got 3 destroyers, chances are one of them's gonna you would need 5 destroyers to at least force a sub up to the surface in the same turn if all 5 destroyers attack, essentially. So it's not bad. It's just the destroyer meta is going to be bigger than the capital ships, especially with submarines being strong. Oh, actually, no, capital ships are going to be very strong in battleships because you're going to have destroyers protecting them, and the submarines are going to have to go to the surface, which is going to allow the battleships to attack. Ooh, actually, yeah. The 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 Japan, yeah. There's all the Mediterranean and all that's going to be fun. The Black Sea. Several type variables don't have any impact, so they've cut the weight to save, so it's just a little bit less on the storage side. AI planes purchase rate has been reworked. Will no longer spam air units. This is a very touchy subject for me. I believe air units are incredibly strong at the moment for the human players. And the AI, if you're playing with planes can move after they're attacked. And because you can have I'm trying to work it, it's 7, isn't it? I think you can have 7 bombers, fighters, and level bombers attack the same unit in the same turn. It shouldn't be allowed. And even without that, it's still strong, the AI, because it's just technically a second level. It's like you've got the map and you've got a second map above which can interact with the bottom, apart from AI which can interact with planes, but AI is in a very weird place at the moment. Just in research time for units, more granular. I'm gonna have to have a look at the research times. I haven't actually had a look. I usually play by the date. I usually just let it play by the date rather than having to research them, but I have to have a look at that. It'll be interesting. Update manual with zone control. That's good. Fixed. Right, now on to the fixed bit. How many is there? Oh, there's a lot. And something's been removed. AI not fighting back against submarines. It will now properly produce destroyers and priority of match enemy subs. Yeah, I'm a fan of that. Typo of Europe with the tile Fort Madalena in North Africa. That's just a typo. For some reason, autosaves were made during PBM games. Okay. Tooltips were always shown even when the option was turned off in the settings. Newly imported overlays were not shown in the game though. That's for PC. Basically, you can get if you get an overlay map of, I don't know, Spain, then you can create Spain yourself, and then create your units and cities according to where it is. I believe Valentine, I would say Valentine always uses that. He shows you how to create a map on his YouTube. In the store, it would always be written remove core unit, even if the select unit was not a core unit. Okay. Lag spikes issue in diplomacy when hovering with your mouse over a country when it displays. Multiplayer on online leaderboards will be responsive. They'll no longer freeze. Clicks going through music playlist background. Yeah, that's when I saw that. Form Jaeger's got its proper name in. Upgraded units lost the flame for a bonus. Modded tiles do not carry manpower and their manpower values when occupied. No more lag spike for pressing tab. File locked will be saved when going back to the main menu. If you create a new map in the map, right after that, it'll lock your new map, and you can never open it again. Partisans weren't spawning. Carrier naval planes could resupply at battleships using their catapults, rendering carriers useless. What? You could resupply I didn't know that. That's good to know. Pressing escape did not close the menu, the map editor. Units disappear in planes when they were above a land navy mine. Yeah, that happened to me a few times. Because it was from the enemy team, so you couldn't see it. You didn't know what was going on. Like you had it and then it disappeared when you just swapped it. Yeah, you swapped your view. Units get a hero, did not refresh the counter showing the hero. Placing a supply depot on cities, towns, and villages would confuse the game and would be ignored, and it would use the tile and said the unit is a supply source. Ouch. Issues with policies and HQs together. Issues with season changes or when the changes are already made. Tech tray tooltips did not take into account some policies. Ooh. And shown low ammo icons on units that have max of 1 ammo. Core units on the panel is changed since they've added the so-core units and removed. Yeah, so overall, I would say it's good. It's moving in the right direction. There's a lot that's been added. I would say the UI personally, like it's not for me, but the translation is huge. Hence why it's called Operation Translate International Offensive. It's huge. I don't disrespect it. I think it's welcoming. It's a good idea. What can we talk about next? Oh, ideas. So there was one about we had a long discussion about anti-tank. I would say if a tank hits an anti-tank, I believe that an anti-tank should have some sort of damage reduction when a tank hits it, and the developer also thinks the same thing. However, I think it would only work if the anti-tank gets a damage percent, like a damage chance, like 30% or whatever, like the same as like 30% chance of whatever happening. I believe they have like 30% chance for reducing a certain amount of armor, depending on what class they are in, light, medium, heavy, to give them that big oomph. Because I feel like 30% isn't going to count our tanks. I'm still going to use tanks to push. Whereas if you make it more devastating to lose your Persians, your Tiger tanks, your Panther tanks, all your big, huge, expensive stuff, then you're not gonna really you're gonna miss them. So make them have a chance where like on ambush or on like a certain amount. So if you're using a heavy against a light and you're ambushing, that light's not going to stand a chance. It's just going to get decimated. I believe that's what should happen. Another thing is we had a long discussion. It's not going to get implemented at all. I don't see it get implemented in the future. But air is in a really strong place. I would love to see anti-air get a little bit love. Primarily like probably damage wise, somehow like probably give them like a little bit area. So if they move into the area, they take like 25% damage. Planes take 25% damage. And then obviously if they attack an enemy close to it, then the proper real damage kicks in. Just something to deal with the threat of planes a little bit more, because all you got is other planes. If you're down from planes, if you're in a deficit of planes against the enemy, you're losing. It would be nice to mitigate the space between losing and it's winnable to win the air by using ground anti-air if you've got enough. Otherwise, you can be spamming so much anti-air, and that space could be used for anti-tank and stuff like that. Anti-tank, heavy infantry, tanks, you could have anything. Yeah. Is there anything else? I don't think there is. Let me just double check. So if we go on to ideas. So the idea of multiple ports, what I was thinking is if it was able to be implemented, you would have the UK spawning units after a set amount of turns, allowing supply and also spawning units. So it's pretty much like a reinforced tile for 20 turns or whatever, whatever to be decided. And so, the UK would be able to send units from that tile on D-Day. So UK could be like putting down the reserve units pretty much there. in Normandy or wherever you land, in Calais or whatever. And what you would do is you would be able to transfer its control to, say, United States to make them use it. But only 2 were built in real life. So I would say probably like 3 or 4 maybe, just so you can get Canada or one of those involved. Canada and Poland maybe. It's just something little. Another thing is adding a check all units or mark units in OOB to transfer them all in the country. So say I'm Germany, right? I'm Germany, and I've got loads of units in reserve or in the order of battle, and I'm like, I want to send them to Romania. I bought a Romania, I want to send them to Romania. You've got to go, click one, Germany, click one, Germany, click one, Germany. I would love to be able to go select all, Germany, or select, like go down the list to select them, like a button to say mark, and then select all of them, and then just where do you want to send them, Germany or Romania, and then send them all to that one person. I think that would be really good for multiplayer. It'd be a good idea. And another one is what's this one? Adding unique unit events, such as like breakout, which allows certain units to rarely by chance to achieve a breakout, which did happen. Allowing units to move if available 1 or 2 tiles behind any unit adjacent. So you've got one unit, you're the unit, you're surrounded by every single unit, every single tile, right? Now if you attack one of the tiles, there's a chance for a breakout, very, very small. And if you break out that unit, what you can do is you can go 1 or 2 tiles behind that unit, so you've escaped capture pretty much. Or maybe have it so if you can break out there, you can do that out of any of those units. And add stuff such as like poor accuracy. So if you've got poor morale, there's a chance to get poor accuracy for your anti-tanks and tanks. Poor signaling for your planes if low morale. Obviously, it's a big undertaking, and obviously Valentine hasn't got all the time in the world. He's working on Piece of Steel, and obviously 7.0.0 bug fixing, such as fixing Android now, but that's all in Google's hand. But yeah. Oh, and add get a map edit event command to transfer unit control to a nation. So on turn 10, this German tiger will be transferred to Romania if it still exists on the map. And yeah, I would say overall a very good. I say very good. It's a brilliant. Oh, and I believe you can use your Bluetooth mouse and keyboard now on mobile. But make sure it's Bluetooth. Yeah, that's another thing. So yeah, thank you. This is probably boring. I've just went through a little bit. But yeah, that's just what I think of this. It's very good. And I can't wait to see what comes of 7.0.0 and Texas 2 in the future. This was Danando, and goodbye.